Hi guys. So before we move on to the Windows machines with our brute force series, I thought I'd do another video on how to protect yourself from legitimate SSH logins. So meaning if your credentials get compromised, if my real password gets compromised and somebody logs in with that, then the failed login attempt method from fail to ban is not going to help me. So how do I add an additional layer of protection on top of my SSH for that? One way to do it is using key pair authentication, but if you can't do that and you have to use passwords, there is actually a way to implement MFA on SSH. I'm going to do it on my lab, so my Ubuntu machine. It's version 22.04, so if it's an earlier version, some of the settings might be slightly different. And my VM, and I'm also mirroring my phone on this side so that you can see my MFA attempts. So the first thing that I want to do is install the package, which is libpam Google Authenticator. Right, there we go. And that's installed. And then what I want to do is I want to run Google Authenticator. Do I want the tokens to be time-based? Well, yes, I do. All right, so what I want to do then is I want to open Microsoft Authenticator, but you can use whatever you want to. Google Authenticator, you can use Authy, any one of those. So I want to add another account, and it's been added successfully. Yeah, you can see it at the bottom, and there's my code. So let's enter the code. There we go. And do you want to update the file? I do. Okay, so one login every 30 seconds. It's a good thing to do. I'm not going to do it for this demonstration. And the setting after that permits a time skew of 4 seconds. I'm fine with that. And then hardening against brute force attacks. It limits the attacker to no more than 3 login attempts every 30 seconds. Great thing to do as well. Once again, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to say no, but you would want to say yes on that. Cool. And that's done. Now, after that, what I need to do is I need to just edit a few config files. Cool. So I need to edit my SSH config file. All right. So if I do list, I'll have my SSH config file there. Good idea to back this up. You can see I've got 2 backups there already, so you can just copy it. But for demonstration purposes, let's just get straight into it and we'll edit it. And what you want to do is add KBD interactive authentication will be set to no by default. You want to make that yes. If you've got an earlier version of Ubuntu, specifically the challenge response authentication will be the one that you use, but in 22.04 and I assume versions after that will be KBD interactive authentication, right? And we want to ensure use PAM is set to yes, and that's it. Then we want to save our SSH config file. The next thing we want to do is we want to edit a PAM file. So our SSHD config under PAM, the PAM folder, the PAM daemon folder. Right. What you want to do here is under @include common auth, we want to add auth required PAM Google Authenticator SO. And then what we also want to do is add this at the bottom. Auth required PAM Authenticator.so null lock. Null OK. And auth required PAM permit. So we want to add that at the bottom, and then we want to save that as well. What I'll do after this is I'll also post a nice guide. There's a few on the web. If you follow the official Ubuntu one, it won't work because the newer, for some reason, they don't have all the steps in there. So I'll post a good guide for you so that you can do this in your lab or wherever you want to. Cool. So that's been done. So what I want to do then is I'll just want to restart my service. Cool, so that's been done. Cool, so now let's test this. So this is only for the root user. Obviously, if I want to register an authentication app or instance to another user, I'll have to sign in as that user and then register. Obviously, it won't make much sense if I can authenticate to multiple users with one phone. The idea is to have each user should have something that they have. If it's something that they know would be the password, something that they have would be their phone. So say I'm the root user and my phone is the only one that I can use to authenticate. So let's have a look. I am actually already in there, but I'm going to just exit, and I was already logged into the Ubuntu machine. So let's go SSH root. Cool. Let's enter our password and the verification code. So 721591. 721591. Oh, well, now it's changed. 437412. There we go. And I'm in. And I've had to authenticate using my code. So even if somebody stole my password, they would not be able to authenticate. So a great, easy way to protect your SSH as well from legitimate logins, because most of the issues we have these days are legitimate leaked passwords, stealer logs, whatever the case is. But even if somebody has my legitimate password, they will not be able to log in. All right, so the next video I will be jumping into a Windows machine and attacking that using brute force and using a few techniques to see if I can mitigate that, and then also mitigate the failed logins and the legitimate logins. So join me then.